Hey guys, this video is going to be a follow-up to the video I made last Friday when I was in Belgium. So if you haven't seen that one yet, I'll link to it up here somewhere and you can go and watch that. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about today is getting embarrassed when you're speaking your target language, and that's what my video was about last week. You know, I was in Belgium trying to speak French and I got all flustered and super embarrassed, and I want to talk about that and kind of unpack some of the things that come along with that, because this is something I'm actually really passionate about in language learning and in life in general. I want to just spread my thoughts on this and my insights and my experiences with dealing with this kind of stuff, and hopefully it can help you to, you know, just think about some of the concepts that go along with this. Even if you don't take all of my advice, at least it's some food for thought that you can use to kind of wrap your mind around this whole concept. And so I want to talk about embarrassment. There's two things specifically that I want to highlight about the concept of embarrassment when it comes to speaking foreign languages, or actually in general, not just in language learning, but there's very significant implications for language learning. And the first, I don't know, I guess you would say the first quality or the first characteristic of embarrassment that I want to bring up is that it's ephemeral. And I know a lot of you are learning English, so and even if your native language is English, you might not know what this word is, ephemeral. But if you've ever read The Petit Prince, or The Little Prince, then you do know, and which is a book that I always recommend people read. Ephemeral means it's something that it's very short-lived. It's not permanent. It's just here one moment and then it goes away. And in The Little Prince, or Le Petit Prince, he goes to a planet with a geographer, and the geographer says that we don't mark flowers on maps because flowers are ephemeral. They're here 1 minute and then they're gone, and so we can't make a map that marks every flower, right? And that's the same thing with embarrassment. Now, in the moment, when you're in the country, speaking your language, stumbling over your words, worried about what people are thinking of your accent, worried about making mistakes, you're gonna feel this really heavy sense of embarrassment, and your face is gonna turn all red. You know, like I said in my last video, this happened to me last week. I know what this sensation is like. It's not fun. You don't want to undergo this feeling of embarrassment. But if you can, stop, take a breath, and remind yourself that embarrassment is ephemeral. It's here one moment and then it's gone. It doesn't last, it doesn't linger. Maybe later on you'll think about that moment, but it's not gonna be as painful to you as it was in that moment there. And that's really important, because if you can learn to overcome that short ephemeral moment of embarrassment, then that's going to be really powerful, and you're going to be able to push yourself to do a lot of things that you didn't think you were able to do before. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that embarrassment is innocuous. And if you're learning English, once again, innocuous is a big word that you might not understand. So the meaning of the word innocuous is essentially it's harmless. It can't do you any harm, okay? It feels like it can. It feels really nasty, and it feels like something that you really want to avoid, right? In my video last week, when I was in the Belgian French fry shop ordering French fries in French, and I just humiliated myself. My face was turning red and I was embarrassed. I just wanted to get out. I didn't want to continue talking to this person, and it feels like a really big deal. But the thing is, it's not. It's so not a big deal. It's so innocuous. and again, it doesn't feel like that in the moment, but the minute I walked out of that French fry shop, all of a sudden the realization came to me that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not harmed. There's no permanent damage done to me physically, emotionally, mentally, in any way. And really that's because it's so ephemeral. So these two words, these two characteristics of embarrassment go together hand in hand. And it's important to get a grasp on this. And so what I'm suggesting is a reframing of your concept of what it means to be embarrassed. You need to take it by the horns. You need to sit back, take a few deep breaths, and really think about what's important. Now, that's difficult to do when you're in the situation, so it's going to take some pre-planning, all right? And what I recommend is reframing your mindset so that you don't think about these embarrassing situations as a bad thing. Of course, when you're in the situation, it's really difficult to not think about it as a bad thing. You're not even thinking about it. All you're thinking is just, I want to get out of here. I want this to be over. I want my embarrassment to be alleviated. But before you even get into the situation, or after you get out of the situation, it's time to do a debrief and think about it, go over it in your mind. And this stuff takes practice. But what I want you to think about is that these embarrassing situations are not situations that are just bad and to be avoided, okay? That's very counterintuitive. Of course you want to avoid embarrassing situations. But no, you don't. You don't want to avoid them. You want to embrace them, okay? This is the new mindset that you need to take. You're going to embrace embarrassing situations and you're going to actively seek them out, okay? These are good things that you want to happen to you because you're learning and you're growing. So, after an embarrassing situation occurs, you're not going to tell yourself, oh, that was so terrible, I'm glad it's over, I never want that to happen to me again. That's not what you're going to say. You're going to reframe your mindset and you're going to say, that was great. I just survived a very embarrassing situation. I learned something. I grew as a person. I improved my character. And next time, I'm going to be a little bit more experienced. And it's not going to be as difficult. And I'm going to continue improving myself as a person. This is a good thing. And not only am I glad that it happened this time, I'm actively going to embrace it and seek it out again in the future. And this is not advice that most people are going to tell you to do, to seek out embarrassing situations. But this is why several months ago, I suggested the comfort zone challenge. And if I remember, I'll try to link to it up here. I might forget. Otherwise, you can go look it up in my channel. The comfort zone challenge. What this is something that you do to intentionally put yourself in embarrassing situations, okay? Not accidentally. This is not just something that you run into and then, you spontaneously get embarrassed throughout your day. You're going to seek out purposely to get embarrassed. And as you do this more and more, it's going to get easier. Now, the video that I made several months ago was me walking up to a stranger and just asking him to give me $100, which doesn't seem like a big deal, and it's not, but it's embarrassing. That's hard to do. This guy's I'm sure the guy thought I was a complete weirdo, right? And the point is to put your embarrassment and your pride and your self-consciousness aside and just not worry about what people think, because it's ephemeral and it's innocuous. But, so there's no bad, there's no negative, but there's good things that come along with it, such as an improvement in self-confidence. And now, you might not be able to start off doing big comfort zone challenges like that. You can start off at your own level, okay? One of the things that I do a lot, and I'm going to challenge you to do this as well. When you're out in public, I don't know, at the mall, at the park, at school, walk around with the zipper on your pants down, okay? And the reason I got this idea was because there was a day that I was walking around at school accidentally with my zipper down, okay? I didn't realize it, and I had been walking around, and then I looked down and I saw, oh crap, my fly is down. How embarrassing. I'm gonna try not to do that again. And then after I zipped it up, I thought to myself, you know what? No, this is actually a good experience because it's teaching me that embarrassing things like this aren't that important. They're not that big of a deal. So rather than always trying to avoid this, I'm gonna do it on purpose, and so that's what I did. I pulled my zipper down and I walked all around campus with my fly down. And is it embarrassing? Actually, it wasn't. Not really. What you don't realize is that when you're walking around with your fly down, people aren't looking at your crotch all day, right? I don't think anyone even noticed. So the embarrassment that we feel when you have your zipper down in public, it's all mental, right? It's not even a real thing. People aren't even judging you because they're not even paying attention. They're not noticing it. And even if they do, who cares? These are strangers. That's why you're doing it in a public place and not around a whole bunch of people that you know. And so what you realize is that it really is innocuous. It's really not harmful to you in the long run or in any real sense. But there are advantages. I promise you, there really are advantages to purposely embarrassing yourself. And not only after you do this for a while, not only does it become not so embarrassing and not so painful and not so just repulsive to you, not only does it not become bad, it actually becomes kind of fun because, I don't know, to me, improving myself is fun. To me, becoming more confident is fun. And when I'm able to put myself in a situation, purposely, intentionally put myself in a situation that other people are avoiding because they're too embarrassed, to me, that actually fills me with a kind of pride that I am becoming a more self-confident person and I'm not afraid of what other people think of me. So it's very counterintuitive. It's not something that you would think would actually be the case, but now putting myself in embarrassing situations is actually kind of a rush. It's kind of a thrill. It's kind of fun. It's enjoyable. And I know it makes no sense, but just try it. Just give it a try and see what happens and you'll see your self-confidence grow. And bringing this back to language learning, if you're able to put yourself in difficult situations like that, you're going to have a lot more opportunities to practice your language, and you're going to improve a whole lot faster if you're intentionally putting yourself in situations that might be embarrassing. You might screw up, you might forget how to conjugate verbs, you might speak with a terrible accent, you might say the wrong word that you thought meant one thing, but it actually meant something very insulting and sexual, right? These things happen when you're learning a language. But the more you're able to embrace the embarrassment and to seek out situations that are going to make you embarrassed so that you're not actively trying to avoid them, you're actually actively trying to seek them out, you're going to be learning your language a lot faster than if you were always trying to avoid embarrassment as your main concern. All right, so this video is going a little longer than I intended, but that's just my thoughts. I'm pretty sure most of you already knew how I feel on this subject, but I just wanted to lay it out there and share just some more of my thoughts. So thanks for watching the video. I'm almost done here in Paris, and I'm going to be going home next week, actually. I'll be going home, and then I'm going to start making my regular videos again. on a regular basis, twice a week. So be prepared for that, and we'll see you guys soon.